b squared minus 4ac. b squared is 36 minus 4 times a times c. 36 minus 36 is 0. So this is only going to have one solution. It's going to be on that x-axis somewhere. So when we solve for this, when we do our the whole quadratic formula, x is only going to equal one thing. All right, last one. Here we have b squared, which is 1 squared, which is 1, minus 4 times a times c. 1 minus 4 is negative 3, so this is no real answer. Because what we're really doing is we're saying negative b plus or minus the square root of negative 3. This doesn't exist, so there are no answers to this. So what I'd like you to do is pause here, try check it out number 3, and come back when you're done. So for number 3a, we end up with 4 minus 24, which ends up being a negative number. There are 0 answers because the answer is no real solutions. For the second one, we have 16 minus 16, which gives us an answer of 0, and so that gives us one solution. And for the third one, we have a positive number, which means there are 2 solutions to the problem. If you have any questions, please ask. We have a carnival game where the weight starts 1 foot off the ground, and it is shot straight up with a velocity of 35 feet per second, and the question is, will it hit the bell that is 20 feet off the ground? So we need to rewrite this equation with all of these numbers in it, with the understanding that the discriminant is going to tell us if this is possible or not. So we're going to rewrite this to be 20 equals negative 16t squared plus 35t plus 1. Now remember, we have to start with this being 0. So we're going to subtract 20 from both sides. So 0 equals negative 16t squared plus 35t minus 19. That's our equation. And from here, we're going to find b squared minus 4ac. So b squared, 35 squared minus 4 times a times c. Now, negative, negative, negative. 2 of these go away. So we have 35 squared, which is 1225, minus 4 times 16 times 19, which is 1216, which means we end up with a positive number. This is going to have 2 answers to it. A positive answer and a negative answer, and that's fine. That means that yes, it did happen. If the discriminant was 0, that means there would only be one answer here, which means it would have just touched that bell and come right back down. And if the discriminant was negative, then we know that that's not a real solution, which means it did not get up high enough to touch that bell. Okay? Your job is to pause here and try check it out number 4 so that you can give this a shot, realizing it's going to be basically the same kind of equation. You're going to start 1 foot off the ground, just like this one did, but your velocity is going to change. The bell is still 20 feet high, so this number and this number and this number won't change, this number will, and your job is to see if that still works. Okay, pause here and I'll see you in a minute. So for number 4, we have 20 equals negative 16t squared plus 20t plus 1, and we want to subtract 20 from each side so that we have 0 equals on one end, and that gives us a negative 19 here. 20 squared, b squared, minus 4 times a times c. We have a double negative that makes a positive here. We have 400 minus 1216. So we ended up with a negative number here, which means there's no real solution, which means that bell went up, but it never did hit that 20-foot mark. This didn't work. This wasn't enough to make this equal. So there is not a solution here. So your homework for this section starts on page 676. It's numbers 31 through 53 odd plus number 56. That's 17 problems. Once you're done with this, we have a chapter review because we are at the end of chapter 9 and you have a test coming up. So please make sure you are on your game. Good luck. Please ask any questions that you have. Make sure when you answer all of your review questions that you know how to do it for the test. Okay? Good luck, and I will see you tomorrow.